Hello everyone, my name is Yandan Chen, and the package I'm going to introduce today is Pandas Profiling, which is a really useful tool for exploratory data analysis. Today's presentation will be in the following 5 parts. First, I will introduce you how to install this package. Next, I will show you an example of this package and also how to save the report and change the configuration. Finally, I will mention the problem of this package when dealing with big data sets. So basically, there are 3 ways to install this package. You can use the PIP or the conduct to import this package depending on your coding environment. Because I'm in the Jupyter Notebook, so I would choose this code to import this package. And I need to mention here is that you may also need to activate the extension if you want to work with the Jupyter widget extension, which is used for progress bars or widget interface. And then we need to import the profile report module from this Pandas Profiling package. The data we are going to use today is the dataset from one of my courses before. And let's have a look at the datasets. It's about the monthly return of different industry portfolio. When it comes to the exploratory data analysis, there are 2 main functions we usually use. The first one is the describe function. By applying this function, you can have a look at the descriptive statistics about the datasets. But remember, it is mainly for numeric variables. And the second one is the inform function. By using this function, you can know more about the data type of different variables and also check if there are missing values. As we can see, there are no missing values here. The data is really clean. And these 2 functions are really useful, but they are so basic for data analysis. So if we want to deeper into the data, so we may need this profile report function to learn more about it. A really structured and interactive report can be generated by just running one line of code. This is the data sets, and we can also choose to give it a title if we want. So today's data is about the monthly return of different industry portfolios. And I choose to include this HTML report in our Jupyter Notebook. But in order to have a better view of this report, I would prefer to save the report first. There are 2 ways to save the report. The first one is to generate the HTML report file. So this is the file we generated, and then we choose the toFile function, and this is the name of our report. Or you can just choose to export the report as JSON data, and you can, for example, as a string or as a file. But what I'm going to show you today is a more common way of using the HTML report. So let's have a look at the report. We may need to wait a little bit. Okay. So this is the name of the report, the monthly return of different industry portfolios. And the report is composed of the following parts: overview, variables, interactions, correlations, missing values, and also the sample. First, we can have an overview of the whole data set. So we can see there is no missing value and duplicate rows. The number of observation is like 1,000, and all variable types are numeric. And here we can also see some alerts about the data. They are all about the high correlation here. Here is also the reproduction information. So let's move to the variables. You can choose the one variable that you are really interested in to be, for example, I'm really interested in the beer industry portfolio. Then I can learn that nearly 40% of the values are distinct and nearly this is 80% and nearly 42% of the values are negative. And also the mean values, the minimum, maximum values are given. If you want to get more information about their descriptive statistic, you may click the toggle details button here and you can learn more about it. So nearly all attributes about the descriptive statistics are shown here. And there are also quantile statistics. A histogram is also provided. As you can see, the return of this beer industry portfolio is nearly normal distributed, but there are also some extreme values. And by click on here, you can also see the frequency distribution of these extreme values. Next, move to the interaction. This is a really interactive part. It is convenient for you to see the relationship between two variables. Just choose the two variables that you are really interested in, and you can see their relationship on the right-hand side. And these relationships are also shown in the next part, the correlations metric, which is shown in different types of heat map. So for example, if you are really interested in some kind of heat map, you can click on this button and you will see the description on the right-hand side. Here comes the missing values part. As I just mentioned, the data set I'm using today is a really clean and tidy data set because it is used for exam, so there is no missing value and duplicate rows. But if there are missing values of other data sets, you can see the distribution of their missing values here, which is kind of useful. And finally, the first 10 rows and the last 10 rows are shown here, which we can also use the head function or tails function to obtain. In order to know more about that, what we can expect from this kind of report, I'm going to show you another examples in this package. Let's choose the NASA meteorologists. Well, the overview is the same as before, but there are different kinds of alerts here. For example, the duplicates alert, high cardinality, and the missing value, also 0 values. So now we are going to see the statistics of categorical variables. You just need to click on the toggle details, and then we can see more about it. For example, you can see how many categories we have, and we can have the histogram and also the pie chart here, and the frequency distribution. And sometimes we may need to know something about the characters and categories, something like that. So here we have some missing values. Now you can see the distribution of the missing values. And this kind of distribution is also shown in the heat map and dendrogram. Okay, these are the main outputs of this report. Let's move to the next part. I will show you how to change the configuration. And it is also the advanced usage of this package. Firstly, we can change the general settings, for example, the title and the progress bar. You can change the configuration when creating or after creating the report. And what we can do is also to change the exact content of the parts of this report. For example, for the variables, for the categorical variables, sometimes we just don't want to know something about the characters, so we can set it to false. Then this part will be deleted from this report. And you might want to add the description of the variables. Actually, this kind of method is also can be applied to other parts of the report. For example, you can delete the heat map and dendrograms from the missing values part if you think then they are not necessary. And you can also delete the whole correlation part from the report. And talking about HTML report, we can also change the style of this report. For example, for the HTML style full width, which means that the report will occupy the whole width of the web page. Sometimes you might want to customize your own configuration file. Then you can write your own files and set the config file equals to your file. You will get what you want. There are several sample configuration files inside this package. What I used today is the default configuration file, but there are also the minimal configuration file and exploratory configuration file. The minimal one excludes some expensive calculation which costs a lot of time and are not necessary. The exploratory configuration files can contain some text and image information. As there is no big difference of the output of the datasets today, so I'm not going to show you how different configuration files look like. But if you are really interested on the differences, you might just click on the file and you will see the exact contents in different files and compare them. What's more, you can also customize the plots and correlation metrics. In the last part, I want to talk about the problem of this package. After we discussed about the output of the report, we may find this package is really useful and convenient, or you might say a lazy way for basic data analysis. And for small data sets, the calculation can be performed in real time. However, for larger data sets, we may need to decide on which calculations to make, because whether computation scales to big data not only depends on its complexity, but also on fast implementations that are available. The first one is to choose the minimal mode, which I mentioned before as the minimal configuration file. And then we can exclude some kind of expensive calculation. The second one is to extract a subsample of the data set. Here we choose 10,000 rows from the data set and also applied the minimal the minimal mode. And sometimes the reader might want to know that it is from the sample of the data set, so we need to add the sample here. As far as I'm concerned, this package is a really powerful way of exploratory data analysis, but it also has some problem dealing with big data sets. So if you want to do some analysis about the big data sets, it might not be your first option. So this is the end of my presentation today. I hope it is helpful and thank you for your attention.